A student logs into a digital portal. Separated in time and space, staring at a single screen, they are isolated from their peers and their instructors. This data illustrates the scale of modern higher education. Between 2015 and 2016, 6.35 million individuals, nearly 32. Faculty resistance is a valid reaction to an architectural failure in how institutions build digital classrooms. Traditional instructional design often relies on transferring physical classroom assumptions directly into digital spaces. It places the instructor in the center of the process, radiating outward to push files, which then drop down to an isolated learner. By treating the digital space as a file repository, this model degrades into a text-based correspondence course. The student is left alone to process readings in a vacuum. Simply making lectures and content available online treats the student as a receptacle for data. This approach ignores the personal dimension required for effective learning. Modern higher education functions as a dynamic, complex ecosystem. Static delivery methods cannot facilitate the deep learning outcomes required by today's institutions. Content delivery is distinct from online education. Fixing student isolation requires a cross-disciplinary methodology that moves beyond mere file sharing. The solution requires a shift in thinking, replacing traditional instructional design with learning experience design. This requires importing concepts from outside traditional education, specifically user experience, human factors, and empathic design, to engineer a space that serves the learner. This methodology places the learner's holistic journey in the exact center of the digital void. The goal is to build the course around their experience rather than the instructor's delivery. Because the teacher and student are physically separated, designers must build an interactive scaffolding around the learner. This is the integrated framework. This framework consists of 5 interdependent design pillars. These pillars must work together to create a single, cohesive experience. To create a successful digital classroom, we must intentionally build these 5 pillars to surround the learner. Pillar 1 focuses on course structure and the learner interface. The user interface dictates how the learner navigates the space. Clear interface design influences the learner's psychological experience and determines whether they feel guided or confused. Pillar 2 is instructional content design. In this model, instructors stop passively uploading documents. Instead, they custom design, curate, and repurpose resources specifically for the online environment. Content must be integrated directly into the course flow to promote active engagement. This ensures that students interact with the material as they encounter it. When architecture and content are aligned, navigating the digital environment becomes a journey rather than a search through a static repository. Pillar 3 centers on meaningful learning activities. These activities use design thinking to create solutions that require students to engage actively with the material to solve specific problems. Pillar 4 establishes social interactions. This is the direct countermeasure to the impersonal feeling that many faculty members fear. Social interactions matter because they inject a personal dimension into technology-mediated spaces. They remind students that they are part of a human community. These interactions do not happen organically in a digital space. They must be engineered through deliberate communication channels. The design must provide specific vectors for learner-to-instructor and learner-to-learner communication. Engineering this social node transforms a digital correspondence course into a living classroom. Finally, we complete the architecture with Pillar 5, assessments and feedback. This model differentiates between traditional terminal grades and ongoing feedback. Feedback is treated as a continuous learning experience. Integrated feedback maintains learner attention and motivation throughout the duration of the course. These 5 pillars form a closed dynamic circuit. This structure replaces linear models with an ecosystem designed specifically for the online learner. Building this integrated framework is not a linear process. It requires constant iteration to succeed. Designers use a specific workflow: brainstorming, sketching concepts, building rapid prototypes, and conducting reality checks. These prototypes must be tested with students and instructors. Testing identifies friction points in the digital architecture before the course is launched. This entire process is driven by empathic design. Successful course design is continuous. Every decision regarding the interface and content is made by projecting into the perspective of the online learner. Consider the contrast between these two approaches. On the left is the linear, isolated instructor-to-content model. On the right is the 5-part learner experience framework, operating as a unified system. The antiquated model on the left isolates students. It confirms the fears instructors have about digital education and fuels their resistance. The integrated framework on the right bridges the physical divide. It builds an interconnected ecosystem that supports both the instructor and the student. By abandoning outdated models and adopting this learner-centered framework, universities can reinvigorate faculty and deliver deep, meaningful online learning.